should I even be staying in the same house with this psycho who wrote this or who scares the shit out of me in some of these scenes to the degree where I'm like, I don't really know. Maybe I don't know you because this is freaking crazy. He's so good. He's so good in this character. It tripped me out.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm very excited to be joined by Natasha Henstridge talking about House of Abraham, which comes to select theaters on June 13th, 2025. I'm going to talk to her right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spread a lot. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am very excited to be joined by Natasha Henstridge talking about House of Abraham, which comes to select theaters on June 13th, 2025. It is a film that deals with some sins of the past, some sins of the present, and some trauma, a lot of which revolves around your character. So I am very excited to talk to you, very excited to hear more about this film, and thanks so much for joining me.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of
Thank
course, of course. No, this
you. Yeah.
is this is this is a dream come true.
That's a great way that you put that. Sins of the past, sins of the present, traumas. Wow. I need to write that down and use that myself later on.
Feel free, feel
But
free.
you're
Just
right. Well, you're absolutely right. You're dead on right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of that's not revealed until you watch the movie, so you have to watch it to find, about more about what we're talking about. So,
Yep. Yep. For sure.
I guess the first question, you are kind of like one of the main stars of this film, kind of one of the main characters. How did you get involved in this movie? What about the character of Dee like really spoke to you?
Mm. So I'm very good friends with Lukas Hassel, who wrote it and who also plays Abraham in the film. And he and I have been friends for about 10 years or so, maybe more. I don't know, something like that. And he suddenly said that they had financing for the film and it was kind of last minute. They had somebody else. I think actually the director was going to play it initially, the role. But he sent it to me and said no pressure. He knows we're friends, blah, blah, blah. Don't feel any pressure. I get it, blah, blah, whatever. And so I read it and I couldn't put it down. It was just one of those things that firstly, before, now we talk about the fact that they all go to this retreat to end their lives and in a dignified, in their own personal way. But before I even knew that, I'm reading the script and like 30 pages in, there's all of this tension and not knowing what's happening and why they're all there and why they're going in there and stuff. And so I thought that was really interesting. I thought the interesting thing for my character, obviously without giving too much away, is the fine line in which she has to play this character. And I thought that part was interesting. But the whole concept of going somewhere and to end your life and making this decision based on, and everybody gets to choose the way in which they do it, and they all come together and they all get to talk about why they're doing it, and they get to pick the timing of doing it. All of that I thought was so interesting. Nowadays, we talk more about that, and they're allowing it in more countries and more states and whatnot. But I think that as a concept before, and that's only the springboard for this movie and where it goes. But I thought that as a concept, I've never really seen that. So I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting too. Like you said, it feels like it is becoming more, I don't know if common is the right word, but it feels like it's being talked about a lot more. The
Mhm.
idea that you can like end your life with dignity if you so choose, if that is what your
Yes.
your hope is. And so I thought that was an interesting timing on this movie. And like you said, when people they talk about like some of their reasoning for it and like the method that they want to do it and some of the reasoning why they wanted to do certain things, I thought was kind of interesting as well. So I'm
Mhm.
glad that spoke to you also.
It did. Absolutely. Big, big part of it for me. Absolutely.
So you mentioned you were friends with Lucas, and I like how you said, maybe 10 years, who knows? I think after that amount of time, it just doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
forever.
yeah, totally.
Uh, but had you worked with Lisa before, the director?
I had never worked with Lisa before, and I know Lisa and Lucas worked on this project together for a long time, and I think it was something they planned on just doing a little two-hander during COVID. They were just gonna, for fun, make this movie together, and I think Lisa was gonna play the D character. I think initially it was maybe written for her. Um, and I'd never worked with her. I was a little hesitant before going in because of that fact, because she was connected to the character. She knew what she wanted to do with the character. No two actors are going to play something alike. So even her as a director is not going to direct me in how to play the character, right? So I was like, is that going to be weird for her? Is it going to be weird for me? And honestly, first of all, the woman has the patience of a saint. As a director, there are a million things coming at you from every angle all the time. And she has a great vision. She had no ego. She fought for the important things. And every time she fought for something, I was like, she's right. No, she makes sense. And I just agreed with her a lot. And she has such grace. And what a hell of a producer. She just puts her mind to something and it's happening. And she's just a really cool, non-egotistical female creator, director, producer, and I so admire her. She did such a great job on this. This is her first feature, so it's a lot. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's not easy to make a good movie, and with a limited budget on top of it, I think she did a really good job. So I'm so happy for her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I could see why you would be a little hesitant. I talked to Lisa before this, Lisa and Lucas before this, and they were both very, very happy that you had stepped in. So I think any sort of concern is not
Did
warranted. But
did she mention that she had written it for it was written for she did. Yeah,
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 she did.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, I was like, oh, is she talking about that? I don't even know. Maybe not, but yes, yeah.
She
Yeah.
she talked about how I think Lucas and her were originally going to co-direct it, and she was going to co-star as well, and they kind of like came to a realization that they should kind of split that up a little more and bring you in, and they were all very happy for those decisions. So
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Good, good.
so no concern whatsoever.
Good. Yeah, that's
But I
awesome.
mean, it must have been a really, big deal to bring you in to kind of like be one of the main characters. Kind of the other main name in this film is Lynn Shay. Had you worked with her before? What was it like working with her?
I had worked with her before, which was awesome, but this was a different experience working with her on this one. The other thing was not a great movie and it was so crazy and out there and whatever. So it was a different experience, but working with her on this particular film, she flew out. I just have so much admiration for Lynn because she flies out. She was 79, she's like 81 or something now. The drive and the passion and the creativity, and the only thing you ever have to do with Lynn is go, there are too many ideas, Lynn. Like she's such a force of nature and she's always got 10 million more ideas. And I just admire her for that. At 70 or 80 years old now, the fact that she's like doing one woman shows and she's so inspirational in so many ways. And I got to know her, but she's just full of ideas and she always comes up with something weird and creepy and interesting and you never thought of. And you're like, where did that come from? But I love it. She's great like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she
I
got to
feel,
play kind of like a more out there character this time. She got to be a little bit more quirky, which must have been fun for her just to like
oh,
kind
and
of lay
she's
it all
so
out.
good at it because actually she's quite quirky in person too. And I thought a lot of her personality came through in this one, I think too. She's delightful. She's delightful.
Yeah,
Fearless, makes no apologies. She's just awesome. I love her.
it must have been. It seems like just a fun overall environment.
It was a
Um,
great group. Yeah.
one of
Great
the
crew.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the things that it was less fun but also intense. A lot of the scenes had some very intense practical effects. What was it like filming that? I assume everything was
Mm,
like safe, but was it like
mm,
difficult to watch some of those
yes,
scenes?
absolutely. Yeah. Safe or not safe, though, still there are scenes where people are going, that was a lot. There's only, yes, it was a lot of practical stuff and some of the scenes. And because they're all about people choosing to die in certain ways, some of them were really hard to watch, like just being there. And yeah, some of them were really tough to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, accidents sometimes happen, so that must have been,
Yeah.
an extra air as well.
Yeah.
Lucas mentioned that you both were staying, in the same kind of like house together, and you could like go and decompress after. So that must have been nice to have like a little bit of time to like talk and decompress and maybe like get in the right mind space after an intense day of shooting.
Yeah, because it's that kind of heavy material and stuff like that. And I wish I was the actor that could be like heavy material, laugh on set. I'm so not. So at the end of the day is when I sort of decompress. And it's interesting to work with Lucas because we're friends and we were living together, driving to work together and, running lines together and all of that's so fun. And he's really funny in person, like he's a light. But now he's playing Abraham on set. And I mean, this guy, what a testament to his acting because boy, sometimes I'm like, should I even be staying in the same house with this psycho who wrote this, who scares the shit out of me in some of these scenes to the degree where I'm like, I don't really know. maybe I don't know you because this is freaking crazy. He's so good. He's so good in this character. It tripped me out. I didn't have to act. I could just react. It was, it was crazy.
Well, glad to hear he's not a method actor because that would have been very creepy to just like
Yeah.
be with
Yes,
him the entire
totally.
time.
Totally. Ugh.
You mentioned that you had some emotions filming this movie that you kind of like can't just like you kind of get more emotionally invested in the characters. How did you prepare to play D? How did you get those emotions? Did you tap into something that you had or just like other experiences that you'd kind of encountered?
I think it's a combination. I think that everybody well, I shouldn't say everybody, but I think a lot of people at one point or another, depending on circumstances and where they are in their life, think about maybe not being here and not to be super dark, but I have had those moments in my life. They're fleeting, thankfully, but I've experienced some of that. And so to get into the mindset, the mind frame of this particular character, but also looking at all the other characters and their reasoning for not wanting to be there and to then be non-judgmental and understanding about it. So bringing that in, but also, yeah, using that in your daily coming into this house, coming into the house of Abraham, and really considering if this is what I really want to do. Obviously, this is layered with other things in my character's particular journey, but really questioning about whether or not that's what you want to do or not. I think that the psychology of that's so interesting,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I think
sensitive
yeah,
and
exactly.
curious and, yeah. So between my own experiences and things that I've read and seen and other people as well, and the thought processes of that, I think are intense.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that you can let it go now that the movie is done. I know we've been talking about some heavy stuff, so I'm going to switch to some lighthearted questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the movie. Feel free to skip any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Oh, okay.
First question. This movie takes place in a retreat. Have you ever been on some sort of retreat, either for, spiritual growth, professional growth, something like that?
I have a fondness for a retreat called Esalen, which is in Northern California. And they do a ton of different types of workshops. I'm very what I call woo-woo adjacent. So spiritual yoga, love all of that. I have a very dear friend who does workshops, so I love to go to her workshops. And yet at the same time, I'm definitely not a follower of anyone in particular and want to be in a group all the time. So I'm kind of a balance of both. But yes, I have been to a couple of wellness retreats. Yes.
Sometimes you just need to get away. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Your character has a nickname in this movie. Do you personally have a nickname that people call you? Anything like from childhood or, maybe something
I have
that
so many nicknames. It's
all
crazy.
good, I imagine.
So I'll give you a few actually right now. So my uncle calls me Stinker.
That's endearing.
My grandfather, who's passed, but he used to call me Sassin, which I think comes from sassy. I think it's that. I don't think it's assassin, sassy, I think. A lot of my friends call me Nat Boogie, and a lot of my friends nowadays call me Natata for some reason. Nobody knows why, but a lot of them, I actually do kind of know why, but I could never tell. So Natata is the latest one.
Well, maybe for your confessional, which actually splits to the next perfect question. This movie has USB drives with confessionals. Do you have a USB stick on you near you that you store things in?
I have a few in my desk drawer that I haven't plugged in because I don't even have a port for it anymore on my computer. I'm going to need an adapter. I do have an adapter somewhere. So yes, I have them. Do I store anything on them anymore? No.
That's probably smart. They're so easy to lose. It's just for like
Yes.
temporary
Yes.
things.
Exactly. Exactly.
This movie also deals with some family drama. Do you personally have a sibling, someone that you are close to, or maybe not so close to anymore?
I have a brother who is 7 years my junior, and we're super close. We're actually getting ready to go on a life-changing backpacking hike for 7 days on the West Coast Trail, and we're super close. We love to do adventures and things together.
That's awesome. And that sounds like kind of a retreat. Like you're not going to be relaxing, but it is going to be spiritually probably good
Yeah.
for your soul. So
Yes, 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 yeah. Yeah, I've done Heart. I've done a couple things. Like I love nature too, so I've done some backpacking things and gone to a Buddhist temple and yeah, I've done some spiritual things like that. Yeah, for sure.
That sounds awesome. Now, this movie also has a prominent bell, which I kind of liked. It made, for some interesting scenes when you hear it ring.
Mm.
Not for this movie, but have you ever rung a bell for any reason? Like, I don't know why. Maybe you have a bell lying around. Maybe you have something that you like gong in the morning.
These are such good questions, by the way. And yes is the answer. I had a surgery a few years ago, and it was a pretty intense, like a tough surgery. And my girlfriend thought it would be really, really cute, and it worked out really well if she brought me a bell. So whenever I needed something, I rang the bell. And she would come running, or I would just use it for whoever was around helping me out at the time. And I did
That
ring it on occasion. Yeah.
that sounds perfect. That sounds actually wonderful. So I
In
love
fact, I
that.
think I'm gonna find that bell and just use it on my boyfriend now. Like when I'm in bed and he's out here in the other room or something, I'm just gonna ring the bell when I want something.
Hey, there you go. And you know what? It'll start to condition him just like Pavlov, right? So
Yes, Pavlov's response. There we go.
and the last question, this was a little heavier, so feel free to skip it, but this movie does deal with suicide with assisted death. If you were going to kill yourself and you'd come to that conclusion and you made peace with it, is there a method that you would do? Is there a method that would speak to you, or is that just nothing something that you would never even think of?
I am probably not going that direction. I think I've been through some ups and downs in my life, and never say never, but I don't think I could do that to my family, to be honest. That's my personal feeling about it, but to each his own. And, you know, there are people dealing with a lot of things that they feel like they can't deal with. However, all that being said, it would probably be something kind of like girly, like pills, right? Just fade off into oblivion, take a long sleep. It would probably be that.
Yep,
I
fair.
can't imagine some of the most gruesome, more gruesome things that people tend to do. It just seems so risky and gruesome and frightening, and the hanging and the shooting and all those things. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, yeah, again, hopefully never, but that does kind of track something that would be light and
Yeah,
hopefully easy. But again,
yeah.
hopefully never.
Hopefully
So
never.
the film is being released on June 13th, 2025. You are out promoting it, getting the word out. But after people see you in House of Abraham, is there anything else they can look forward to? Is there anything else on the horizon that you're working on?
I actually just got offered a Netflix show that I'm so excited about, and I cannot give you the title right today because I'm literally negotiating today, but I'm going to do it. And so you heard it here first. They could probably negotiate me down to nothing because I love the project so much that I'm so excited to be a part of it. So that's going to be a Netflix show, and we start filming. I'm saying all this, I haven't even signed the deal, but the offer is there. So we're going to start shooting that in July. And then I've done a couple of episodes of Fallout, the show, the video game show. It's kind of a big show. We did a couple cool things on that. What else do I have coming out? There's some other things too. Some other little indie movies, things like that. But I would say Fallout and this Netflix show and House of Abraham. Most importantly, what we're talking about today.
Perfect. Well,
Friday the 13th in New York. I think it comes
that
out
is
on the 20th here in LA. But
that is a perfect release date, and I will, yeah, I will hold this interview for a couple days. I don't want Netflix to see that, but that's
yes,
awesome.
good. I know. Right. My God,
You,
especially me saying, I'll do it for free.
yeah. That was all for the cameras, Netflix. But you heard it
Yeah,
here first.
exactly.
You can look
Eh,
forward to both of those shows. But first, like Natasha said, check out House of Abraham coming to theaters on Friday the 13th, June 13th, 2025. It is an indie thriller that again deals with sins of the past, sins of the present, and some trauma. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for your time, Natasha Henstridge, and thanks again.
Thank you so much. Nice to talk to you.
That was Natasha Henstridge talking about House of Abraham, which comes to select theaters on June 13th, 2025. It is a indie horror thriller that deals with the sins of the past, some sins of the present, and some trauma on the way. And Natasha is kind of in the center of a lot of that. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.
And you are all set to begin whenever you're ready.
Your sound is off, David, just so you know.
I don't know why it's doing that. It's done that twice. Oh,
Hey.
hi, Natasha.
It's like the new Amazon TV. You know, like Amazon suddenly, if you pause it or something, it turns your sound off and you have to go back on and turn your sound on. Like on my streaming network. It's driving me crazy. I'm good, David. Sorry, I
Awesome. No,
digressed there.
no. Technology is getting both more convenient and way less convenient at the same
I
time.
know.
That's just the world we live in now.
I know. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, fingers crossed the technology will work, but let's get going. So,